Alien students were curious about Earth. Then they met human children, HFY Sci-Fi HFY. The transport ship moved quietly as it entered Earth's sky. It did not burn or roar. It slid like a shadow between clouds. Inside, 12 alien students watched the planet through clear panels. They had studied Earth for many cycles. They knew the facts. Humans were emotional. Humans were loud. Humans fought often. Humans were dangerous in groups. That was what the lesson said. The students came from different worlds, but they shared the same goal. They were here to observe, not to speak, not to touch, not to interfere. Their guide, a calm adult named Oren, reminded them again. Earth was still under review. Any mistake could end the program. As the ship landed far from large cities, the students felt strange signals in their minds. Earth felt busy. It felt alive in a way no data could show. Trees moved in the wind. Small animals ran without fear. The air carried sounds that changed every moment. The students stepped out wearing soft field suits that hid their shapes. From far away, they could pass as tall humans. Oren led them toward a quiet town surrounded by green land. No tall towers, no heavy machines, just small homes, roads, and open spaces. They expected fear. They expected shouting. They expected alarms. None of that happened. The first humans they saw were children. A group of children sat near a low fence, drawing shapes on the ground with sticks. They laughed at nothing and everything. One child looked up and froze. The others followed the gaze. 12 strange figures stood on the path. The alien students felt their bodies tense. This was the moment the lessons warned about. Then one child waved. It was a small, simple movement. The hand went up and down. The child smiled. Another child stood and walked closer. "Hi," the child said. The word was short, friendly, no fear in it. The students looked at Oren. Oren said nothing, observation only. The child tilted their head. "Are you new here?" No one answered. The child shrugged and sat back down. "You can draw too if you want." The students felt confusion spread among them. This was not in the data. One student, a quiet thinker named Leo, watched closely. The children returned to their drawings as if nothing strange had happened. Minutes passed. One student stepped forward by mistake. Their foot slipped on loose ground. They fell. Before Oren could react, 2 children ran forward. "Are you okay?" one asked. The fallen student froze. Physical contact was forbidden. But the child had already reached out and helped them stand. Nothing bad happened. No shock, no fear, no scream. The student stood, heart racing. The child smiled again and ran back to the group. Leo recorded everything. The help, the lack of questions, the easy trust. Oren ordered a retreat. The students moved back into the trees. The children waved goodbye, laughing as if they had met nothing more than visitors. Back inside the ship, the students spoke in low voices. "This is wrong," one said. "They should be afraid." "They touched us," another said. "Without reason." Oren listened. "Children behave differently," Oren said. "Do not let this confuse you." But it already had. That night Leo could not rest. The memory of the small hand helping them up kept returning. It was not logical. There was no benefit. The next day the students returned to observe from a distance. They saw the children again, this time at a wide open space filled with metal shapes and swings. The children ran, climbed, and fell often. When one fell, others rushed to help. No command was given. No reward followed. The alien students exchanged looks. One student, Myra, whispered, "Why do they care?" Leo did not answer. They did not know. A loud sound echoed. A metal bar broke loose above the playground. It fell fast. Time slowed. One child stood directly below. Leo moved. They crossed the space in a second and caught the bar before it hit the ground. The force bent the metal. The child stared up in shock. Silence spread. Adults shouted. Phones came out. Oren froze in horror. The child touched the bent metal. "Wow," the child said softly. The adults surrounded them. Questions flew. Fear appeared at last. Oren ordered an emergency signal. The students knew what this meant. The program was over. As security vehicles approached, the children stood close to Leo. One child spoke loudly. "They saved us," another nodded. "They are good." The words were simple, but they cut deep. Above the planet, distant watchers noticed the energy spike. Messages moved fast through space. Earth had changed. The alien students were no longer just observers. They were part of the story now, and this was only the beginning. The sun rose slowly over the quiet town, casting golden light across empty streets and open fields. The alien students gathered once again, staying hidden among tall trees. Their eyes scanned the playground below, where the children were already at play. The events from the previous day were still fresh in their minds. They had not expected to be touched or helped, and yet it had happened. One moment they were strangers. The next, they were part of something they could not fully understand. Myra tilted her head, watching a small boy balance on a thin log. He wobbled, almost falling, but another child caught his arm and steadied him. No word was said. No reward given. The aliens felt a strange stir of emotion in themselves, a feeling not taught in their lessons. It was warmth, confusion, and something they had no name for. Leo stepped closer to a tree, his heart pounding. "This is impossible," he whispered. "Why do they act like this? There is no logic, no rules, no reason to help us, no reason to help each other." Oren nodded silently. "Observation," he reminded them. "Do not interfere." Yet the students could not simply watch. Something in them wanted to understand. One by one, they moved a little closer to the playground's edge, careful not to be seen. The children were fearless. They ran and climbed, laughing with ease. One small girl approached the edge of the trees where the aliens hid. She tilted her head, observing them carefully. Then, as if sensing their hesitation, she smiled and waved. A simple gesture, yet it carried trust. It was a trust that made the alien student system shiver in a way no calculation could predict. Leo felt a pull he could not explain. The child's hand reached toward the tree, beckoning. He wanted to step forward, to touch, to communicate. The rules screamed no. Oren's voice in his mind reminded him, "Do not, observation only." Yet the urge was too strong. Slowly, almost instinctively, Leo stepped out. The ground cracked beneath his weight. The child gasped, but instead of fear, there was curiosity. She took a cautious step closer, eyes wide. Leo froze, unsure what to do. His body, taught for years to avoid direct contact, hesitated. But the child simply smiled again and said, "Hi, I'm Tessa. What's your name?" Another student, Rico, peeked from behind the tree. He whispered, "She is not afraid. She does not see danger. This is unnatural." Myra reached out a finger, almost touching Tessa's hand. Tessa held out her small hand, inviting. The moment was tense. Heartbeats of all 12 students aligned in unspoken understanding. And then softly Myra's finger brushed Tessa's. A shock ran through the alien. Not pain, not danger, something else. Something unrecorded, warmth, connection. Other children noticed. They came closer, circling the students. A boy named Jaren asked, "Do you want to play with us?" The students glanced at Oren. The rules, observation only, but the children waited. Their faces were full of trust. One simple word, one small smile, was stronger than any command the aliens had received. Leo stepped fully onto the open ground. The children cheered as if nothing strange had happened. A game began. The aliens awkwardly mimicked the simple acts of running, throwing, and tagging. They were clumsy, but the children laughed and encouraged them. Each smile, each cheer, tore down layers of fear, layers of strict discipline, and built something the students did not have words for: friendship. Suddenly, a loud metallic crash echoed from nearby. A swing broke, sending a heavy chain swinging dangerously toward a child. Time slowed. Jaren did not see the chain coming. Leo reacted instantly, using his alien reflexes to grab the child and lift him out of the path. The swing hit the ground with a loud clang. No one was hurt. The children stared in awe, and Leo felt something stirring deep inside, a sense of pride and care that had never been measured in their lessons. Oren's communicator buzzed urgently. He whispered, "Emergency extraction. They have seen too much." The students froze. To leave now meant leaving the children with memories that would question every rule the aliens had learned. To stay was forbidden. The dilemma weighed heavily. Tessa ran to Leo. "Are you okay?" she asked simply. There was no fear, no questioning, only concern. The alien students looked at one another, and something unspoken passed between them. Observation alone was no longer enough. They had become part of the story. The children had claimed them, even without knowing who they truly were. As the sun lowered in the sky, Oren signaled to retreat. Slowly, the students moved back to the cover of the trees, careful not to show fear. The children waved, calling out their names, promising to see them again. Leo watched the children disappear from view, his mind filled with questions he could not answer. The warmth he felt, the connection he experienced, was new. None of their lessons had prepared them for this. High above, distant monitors recorded the energy shifts, the changes in behavior, the signals of something extraordinary happening on a small blue planet. The alien students had stepped into an unfamiliar world, and that world was stepping into their hearts. The night fell, full of stars. The children slept unaware of the small yet profound change their simple acts had created. And the alien students, though forbidden from feeling, could not stop thinking about them. The seeds of curiosity and understanding had been planted, and the story was only beginning. Morning came quietly over the town, with soft light spilling across rooftops and trees. The alien students gathered once more, hidden at the edge of a nearby forest. They had returned because they could not stop thinking about the children. The memories of laughter, trust, and small acts of care haunted them. Observation alone was not enough anymore. Something deeper was awakening in them. Leo stared at the playground, where the children were already running and climbing. They were fearless, full of energy, and completely unaware of the tension that existed around them. Tessa waved from the sandbox, smiling. Leo wanted to wave back, but hesitation rooted him to the ground. Rules, observation, non-interference. Yet the pull to connect was stronger than ever. Myra stepped closer to Leo. "We cannot just watch anymore," she whispered. "They need help, and I want to understand them." Oren, their guide, frowned. "You will follow the protocols. Observation is all you are allowed to do. No touching, no saving. You understand?" "Yes," Leo said, but his voice lacked certainty. Deep inside, he already knew that nothing they had learned would prepare them for what was coming. The children began a game of climbing and jumping across uneven logs. One child, a boy named Ryan, lost his balance and fell toward a sharp rock. Time slowed. Leo's instincts surged. Without thinking, he moved. The ground beneath him made no sound as he reached the child and caught him just before he hit the rock. The boy gasped, then looked up at Leo with wide, innocent eyes. The other children froze. Then one by one they ran forward, cheering. They were not afraid. They were full of gratitude, full of trust. Leo felt an unfamiliar sensation, a warmth in his chest that was not cold or calculated. He had saved a human without rules, without instruction, without any reward. And it felt right. Oren's communicator buzzed urgently. The council had detected the energy spikes and the unexpected actions. Observation protocols were being violated. The students were to evacuate immediately, but evacuation was impossible. The children now surrounded the students, standing protectively. Tessa looked up at Leo. "Are you okay?" she asked, echoing the question from yesterday, as if checking his well-being mattered more than anything else. Leo knelt, a gesture he had not been taught, and smiled gently. "I am okay," he said. "Are you?" "Yes," Tessa replied. Her words were simple, but the meaning was profound. No fear, no hesitation, just trust. The other children nodded and formed a small circle around the aliens, their tiny hands brushing the students' legs. They made no threat, no demand. They only stood together, silent but strong. The tension escalated as human authorities began to approach. Security vehicles entered the area, flashing lights and shouting commands. Oren signaled for retreat. The students glanced at one another. Leaving now meant breaking the trust that had been formed. Staying meant disobeying direct orders and risking exposure. The choice was clear in their minds, even if it went against everything they had learned. They could not abandon the children. Myra stepped forward. "We stay," she said firmly. "We will protect them. That is more important than rules." The other students followed her lead. One by one, they moved closer, shielding the children with their bodies. The authorities slowed, confused by the sight. 12 strange figures standing calmly, and in front of them fearless children. The standoff was tense. Every second stretched into eternity. Then one child, Jaren, spoke loudly. "They are our friends. You cannot hurt them." The words resonated. They were simple, unarmed, but filled with conviction. The adults hesitated, unsure how to respond. High above, distant monitors recorded the incident. The energy signatures, the emotional spikes, the courage of the children, all were noted and transmitted to the Alien Council. For the first time, a new variable was introduced into their calculations. Earth humans were unpredictable, yes, but their smallest members possessed a power that no technology could measure. As the sun began to set, the tension eased slightly. The authorities retreated to reassess the situation. The children cheered quietly, holding onto each other and the aliens. Leo looked down at them, awe and wonder filling his chest. Their bravery, their trust, their simple humanity had changed him in ways he could not describe. Night fell, quiet and gentle. The children returned home, their minds unaware of the profound mark they had left. The alien students remained, hidden but vigilant, contemplating the complexity of human emotions. They had crossed a line, yes, but in doing so, they had discovered something extraordinary. Even the smallest humans could teach lessons far beyond what the stars could offer. The story of trust, courage, and the innocence of children was only beginning. And the alien students knew that nothing would ever be the same again. The next morning, the town was quiet again, but the energy in the air was different. The alien students knew they had been observed. Far above, Alien Council monitors had recorded the interactions from the previous day, noting the bravery, trust, and courage of the human children. The Council's messages were stern. Earth could be dangerous. The students had disobeyed protocols. They would answer for their actions. Oren gathered the students in a small clearing. "The Council is aware," he said. "They demand your immediate return. Earth is no longer considered safe for observation. You have been seen. There is no excuse." Leo clenched his fists. "They are children," he said quietly. "They did nothing wrong. They trust us. Should we abandon them?" Oren's face remained calm, but his eyes betrayed worry. "It is protocol, observation only, no intervention." Myra stepped forward. "They are not just children. They are teaching us something: courage, trust, empathy, something no lesson has prepared us for." The other students nodded. Something had changed within them. Observation was no longer enough. They had seen humanity in a form that data could never capture. And it frightened and fascinated them at the same time. Back in the town, the children gathered near the playground again. They had felt the absence of the aliens the previous night. Tessa looked around, worried. "Where are they?" she asked. Suddenly, a figure appeared at the tree line. Leo stepped forward, slowly revealing himself. The children gasped, but not in fear. Recognition, relief, and curiosity shone in their eyes. Ryan ran forward. "You came back," he said, excitement in his voice. The alien students smiled awkwardly. They had no words for this form of emotion, but the children did not need explanation. They simply accepted the presence of the aliens as part of their world now. Without warning, A loud signal crackled through Orin's communicator. The Council was sending a fleet. Earth's humans were now under threat of assessment. The alien students' actions had tipped the balance. Protocol dictated immediate departure, but leaving would place the children in danger. Myra looked around at her companions. "We protect them." "That is our choice," she said firmly. Leo nodded. "We cannot leave. We know something about humans that the Council does not. They are stronger than we realized. We stay." The Council's fleet appeared in the upper atmosphere. Large ships, silent and imposing, hovered above the planet. A message was transmitted to the aliens: abandon Earth or face consequences. The alien students glanced at each other. They had a choice: fear of the Council or trust in the small humans below. The children, sensing the danger, ran to form a circle around the aliens. "You protect us," Tessa said. Her voice was firm, innocent, but filled with courage beyond her years. "We protect each other." The energy from their trust and bravery surged. The aliens felt it in their bodies and their minds. They had seen courage before, but never like this. It was raw, unmeasured, and powerful. It was human. The Council's fleet paused, analyzing the unexpected signals. The energy readings from Earth's children were unlike anything recorded. Tiny humans, unarmed, were projecting something the sensors could not quantify. A lesson the Council had ignored was becoming clear. Strength was not only in weapons or technology. It was in heart, in trust, in courage. The alien students stood firm, shielding the children. One of them, Rico, sent a mental signal to the Council, explaining what they had seen: empathy, courage, trust. The children were teaching lessons no protocol could dictate. The Council hesitated. For the first time, the order to attack faltered. Analysis showed that humans, even the smallest and weakest, possessed qualities the galaxy could not control or predict. The fleet withdrew, leaving the planet under observation but without threat. The children cheered softly, hugging each other and the aliens. Leo knelt to Tessa's level. "You are very brave," he said. Tessa smiled. "You are brave too." Night fell, calm and peaceful. The alien students had learned something profound. The courage of a child could challenge the rules of the galaxy. Observation was no longer enough. They had to protect, to understand, and to learn from humanity. A new chapter was beginning, one that would change both the humans and the aliens forever. The morning sun shone over the town as the alien students prepared for the day. The previous events had changed everything. They were no longer just observers. They were protectors, learners, and participants in something far greater than any lesson or protocol. The children had taught them courage, trust, and empathy in a way no classroom ever could. Leo, Myra, Rico, and the others gathered at the edge of the playground, hidden but ready. The children arrived shortly after, laughing and running as if nothing had changed. Their innocence was powerful, their trust unwavering. Tessa and Ryan led the group toward the aliens, eyes bright with anticipation. High above, alien ships monitored the situation, unsure of how to react. The Council had not anticipated this. Humans, even children, wielding a power no technology could measure. The students knew the Council expected compliance. They expected fear. But the children below taught a different lesson. Strength came in forms the Council could not predict. Suddenly, a warning signal echoed through Orin's communicator. More ships were approaching. The Council was pressing again. The students exchanged determined glances. There was no hesitation. They would stay. They would protect the children. They would stand by the smallest humans, even against the galaxy. The children, sensing the tension, stood together with the aliens. Tessa's voice rang out clearly. "You protect us, we protect each other. We are brave together." That simple declaration sent ripples across the battlefield of emotions. The alien students felt the truth of it, and something shifted in their minds. They understood that the Council's fear was based on misunderstanding. Humans were not predictable. They were adaptable, fearless in ways the galaxy had never seen. and their smallest members could change the outcome of events no one expected. The council ships paused, scanning the energy around the children. They saw bravery, trust, and unity, all concentrated in beings smaller than themselves. The energy was undeniable. The council hesitated, recalculated, and then withdrew, leaving the planet under peaceful observation. The children cheered quietly, surrounding the aliens with hugs and smiles. Leo knelt beside Tessa. "You are brave," he said. "You are brave too," Tessa replied simply. Myra looked around at the children, laughing and holding onto each other. "They have changed us," she said softly. "We came to observe, but we learned something we could never have imagined." The other students nodded. They had seen technology, strength, and knowledge, but nothing matched the simple courage of children who acted without fear, without reward, without calculation. The alien students remained with the children, learning from them, protecting them, and growing alongside them. Across the galaxy, reports would come in. Earth was no longer merely a planet to be catalogued. It was a place of rare courage and unexpected strength. And it was the children, smallest and simplest among humans, who had made the greatest mark. As the sun set, painting the sky in orange and purple, the town was quiet again, but the bonds formed that day were strong and unbreakable. The alien students had learned the ultimate lesson. The heart and courage of a human, no matter their age or size, could influence the fate of worlds. And this was only the beginning of a new understanding between species, a connection that would shape the future for both humans and aliens alike.